Welcome back. We are joined by Nancy Matsumoto, who goes way back with me to both of our days at People magazine. She's now a freelance writer and editor, and she specializes in the areas of food, sustainable agriculture, arts, culture, and health. So she is an ideal guest on Stribling's New York. Welcome, Nancy. She's joining us on the phone.
Thank you. Great to be here.
So one of the things I love about your incredible resume and CV is that you're a certified sake professional. Does that doesn't say that? Does that say that on your business card? It's perfect.
No, I should add that.
You should have a separate card that just says certified sake professional.
Right.
That's a gateway to everything.
Who doesn't love sake?
It could definitely help in certain companies.
My mother would say, "Did you go to school for that?"
Well, it's more impressive than it sounds, maybe, but I did do a seminar that was the first level of the Certified Sake Professional course. And you get a certification, and you get to say you're a Certified Sake Professional.
So it's like becoming a different level of sommelier in effect?
Yeah, there are many different levels, and there are many different schools and programs around the world. The one that I did happens to be led by, people call him the leading non-Japanese expert in the world on sake, and his name is John Gautner, and he's very well respected in Japan, and his program has become incredibly popular. I did it in Las Vegas. It was his largest seminar to date, and it was filled with wine and beverage professionals from the industry there. So it was interesting.
So how do you keep up with the changing sake world, or how do you maintain your mojo? Do you have to keep on drinking it consistently?
Well, yeah, it's actually the best thing in the world. You just have to drink a lot of it. And I think take notes, pay attention, try to bring all your education to bear. So you're constantly learning. And there are a lot of very knowledgeable sake servers and sommelier in the city.
Have I already mispronounced it, calling it sake because you just said sake?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. All right. Here we go.
Okay.
That's all right. I also said that our sponsor was in business for 50 years, and I was off by about 20. So.
Oh, well, you made them sound better.
That's right. So tell
but
me.
Yeah, people do pronounce it sake, and it is often mispronounced. People also often refer to it as rice wine, when actually it's closer to beer in the way it's brewed and fermented.
How many different kinds of sake are there? Did I get it right with the pronunciation?
Well, yeah, very good. Very good. Hundreds. There are some broad classifications that usually have to do with how finely the rice grains are milled. And typically, the more of the grain that's milled off, the more aromatic and delicate the sake will be. So those are the main. Daiginjo is the most milled, and then Junmai, Honjozo. We also have two different classifications that have to do with whether it's diluted with a little bit of distilled alcohol. So when you see the name Junmai attached, that means it's pure. No alcohol added. Both types can be really delicious, but it just depends what you're looking for.
Are there any kind of sake bars in New York specifically that you'd recommend for any of our listeners?
Yeah, there are actually a lot, and I've written about where to drink sake in New York City. There's a great place called Sakagura, which is near Grand Central Station. And then there are a couple places on the Lower East Side, Sakamai, Azasu, Yopparai, also very good.
And do you have any favorite Japanese restaurants that you recommend in New York? I used to go to a place, well, let me run this by you first, called Sugiyama on 55th Street, right off of 8th. And it was some of the best Japanese food I've ever had, especially you cook everything yourself on a rock. And most of the patrons were Asian, so it made me assume that it was good. And then one day it just closed.
Right. Yeah, that was an amazing place, and
In fact, I found
very well regarded.
One of the things I mentioned on the show is what I do is when I thumb through as a GOTS, if I find a rating 27 or higher, I just make it my mission to go try that restaurant. And that was a place
You sound like my son.
that was consistently rated that high, and it had been around for years. And then suddenly, sadly, it was gone. So
yeah, no, I know exactly, and that the rock cooking was very characteristic, and I don't know what happened to it. The chef kind of disappeared, but that was a really, really great place. Well, I've written about, there's a place called Brushstroke in Tribeca.
I'm making a note.
That is actually David Boulet's Japanese restaurant. And
really?
He brought over some really amazing chefs from Japan, and they have beautiful, it's not sushi. They have a little separate sushi bar, but it's more kind of kaiseki type of meals. And then they have a really good lunch program, too, which I would recommend.
And this is in Soho, and it's called Brushstroke. Don't tell me that
it's actually Tribeca.
Tribeca, okay.
On Hudson Street. Mm-hmm.
Has
really
it been
good.
around for years, and I just don't know about it?
It's been around a while. And then for casual, I really like a place called Otoya, which has, I think, now 3 branches in different parts of Manhattan.
Otoya,
and it's very casual, family style, great deal, really, because you can get a beautiful set lunch for a very reasonable price.
Well, these are all interesting things to know. You have such a diverse background. I know that there are a lot of things we can talk about. I'd rather break it up into multiple episodes, since I know you've got an interesting book. You co-authored The Parent's Guide to Eating Disorders, Supporting Self-Esteem, Healthy Eating and Positive Body Image at Home. I would keep that as our next episode if we can.
Oh,
and
sure.
then you also have another English language publication, your grandparents' book of Tanka poetry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They were interned during World War II, and they took up poetry writing. And my grandmother apparently had talent at it. So one of her poems was selected for the annual Emperor's Poetry Party, which is a big deal in Japan. He selects a certain number of poets whose poems are read. And this happened when she, right after the war, after they had been in these prison camps. And it became a big deal locally in Chicago where she was living. And it kind of led to an offer to have a book published. So I'm working on a translation of that right now.
Any other articles that you have coming up that we should be on the lookout for?
Well, I'm writing an interesting article about the plight of the honeybees. I'm writing an article about grass-fed beef, hamburgers.
Oh, boy. Okay. When is that coming out? When's that coming out? Because I want to tie this in with some of our other guests. Yes.
I don't know the actual date because I'm still writing it.
Okay, but it's imminent?
I would say not too long.
Okay.
Yeah, next month maybe.
Because I'm talking with different chefs about coming in to talk about how, since the summer is rapidly approaching, to make the perfect steak or hamburger on the barbecue grill. And have a lot of questions about grass-fed beef. So I hope that you can join us again soon, and we could do some regular food hits over the course of the summer. I think it would be great. Do you have a website that you'd like to tell us about so that everybody can find you?
Yeah, my name. Yeah, www.nancymatsumoto.com.
Matsumoto. Nancy Matsumoto. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Rob. It was a pleasure.
Okay, great talking to you.